Last time we tested what would happen if you gave a Weedle perfect stats. 255 base in attack, HP, speed, defense, special, and we found that it was completely overpowered. It basically crushed the entire game, though there were still a couple spots that were a little difficult, basically because the Pokemon had no moves. That led a lot of people to ask the question, what if we gave perfect stats to the perfect Pokemon? What if we took Mewtwo even further beyond the perfection that it was engineered to be in Generation 1, combining its incredible move pool with perfect stats? Will we just one-shot every single Pokemon in the game? How fast can I beat the game with this setup? I wanted to test it out, so I decided to set up this Mewtwo. So just a quick breakdown of some rules. I'm going to be playing the game as quickly as I can with this Mewtwo. This is one run where I will be on max DVs. We're going to make it the strongest possible Pokemon that could ever exist within the programming of the game. And the goal is to see if we can basically just one-shot or two-shot everything and get to the end quickly. So normally I avoid adding TMs as much as possible, but in this one I'm just going to give the best moves at every point that I think will help me get through the game faster. With that being said, this is not an optimized speedrun. I have not mapped this out in advance. This is a first attempt, so if there's a minor mistake, that will just be what it is. But still, I think we will get a pretty good idea of how fast this Pokemon can beat the entire game of Pokemon Yellow. One other thing is that I play with animations on. That is my style. You don't have to agree with it or like it. Heck, we may even do a second run to see how turning animations off and giving a one character name actually speeds up the run. But for now, let's get into this and see how it actually goes. And here the timer starts the second that I hit new game. It will end the second that we actually manage to beat the champion at the end. I'm going to avoid picking up items as much as possible because I don't think I need them. So here Professor Oak, he's going to find this completely overpowered Pokemon outside of Pallet Town, and he is just going to do the worst thing that a researcher ever could do. He's going to give it to a 10-year-old kid and just send him out into the world. Go be a Pokemon master. So here our rival is going to push us out of the way, and he's going to find out that it was a major mistake to do that because we are coming in with the ultimate. But here as we came into the first battle with GodTwo, clearly something has gone wrong because the emulator just froze. It doesn't even want to let us fight rival number 1 with our GodTwo. Let's see if we can reset and get this to go. So after some minor troubleshooting, we are back, and here against the Eevee, I'm just going to use Confusion once and one-shot it. Turns out that this Mewtwo's kind of strong. So with that, we will simply progress through the game as quick as I can. I'm not going to pick up any items that I don't think I need. We will get a flying type Pokemon, but that's basically all that we're going to do before Brock. And with our Pidgey in tow, we're ready to make our way to Brock. Let's just go ahead and take on the first gym leader. So here with GodTwo, I'm just going to use Psychic, and it easily one-shots the first Geodude we get to level 7, and then we easily... Oh no, we do not one-shot the Onix. Even with perfect stats on minimum battles, we did not one-shot there in that fight. So Mewtwo, in spite of the fact that we have technically made it the perfect Pokemon, is not actually guaranteed to one-hit KO both of Brock's Pokemon. Still, we beat that fight in 2 minutes 43 seconds, and we are ready to move on in the rest of the game. Now, this next section is really just about PP management, just trying to make sure that we don't use too much PP and Psychic except where we need to. Against these really weak Pokemon, I'm just going to go Confusion the whole way. Also, since we're going for speed, we're going to fight this bug catcher rather than going up to the last up above because we have to backtrack in that case. Whereas here, we're just going to one-hit KO all these Pokemon anyway, so it's much faster to just fight that trainer and then move on. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to need rare candies, but I'm going to pick them up just in case, just so that we have them in the bag in the off chance that we actually need them. Otherwise, I'm taking no optional battles here in Mount Moon. I'm going straight to the Super Nerd at the end and then Jesse and James. So here against the Super Nerd, I think we just go Confusion on this one. I don't expect his Pokemon to survive. Oh, Voltorb does survive. We should have used Psychic there, but Coughing is a one-hit KO, and we easily get through the Super Nerd in very good time. We take Lord Dome, even though it's slightly less efficient, and it's time to take on Jesse and James. So Jesse and James, attempt number 1, of course, we're just going to Confusion on the Ekans. I'm going to Psychic the Meowth just to make sure it's a one-hitter, and then we will Confusion on the Coughing. Easy win as we get to level 14. And with that, I'm going to now route to Cerulean City, and I'm going to take on the rival first. I think that is the best routing. And I'm also going to heal just so that I have more PP as I go up north. So Rival 2, attempt number 1. Let's just see how he goes here. I'm going Psychic on this team because he has fairly high level Pokemon. We don't want to miss a one-hit KO here, except for the Rattata. Rattata is weak, so we can definitely just Confusion. And then the Eevee takes a Psychic, easy one-hit KO. 5 minutes, 25 seconds to get through this section, not doing too bad. And for everything else up here, I'm basically just going to use Confusion, so I'm going to swap that into the top slot so I can just hold my auto fire button in order to knock out these Pokemon. Now you will note that the overlay is showing one optional battle. That's simply because I fought that bug catcher rather than the last on Route 3. My overlay considers my standard minimum battles route when it considers what is an optional battle and what is a required battle. But in general, we will fight the trainers that have the fewest Pokemon so that we spend the least amount of time, getting a Gen 1 miss against a Zubat. Oh my god. But that is what we're going to go with here. And we're just going to grab, of course, free Pokemon that we can use as HM users later on. But here against the Oddish Lass at the end of this section, we can see we've had no troubles. We've barely even taken any damage outside of some quick attack users. I will grab the Ether and go see Billy Boy, where he's going to say, oh my gosh, what kind of Pokemon is that? We're going to say it is the greatest Pokemon ever to live. And he's going to give us a ticket because he's just so impressed by our god tier Mewtwo. But with that, it is time to go back down south, and I'm going to go ahead and just fight against Misty. It's going to be more efficient than coming back to fight her later. I think Psychic will be enough to get through this fight. So Misty, attempt number 1. So first things first, against this Staryu, I use Psychic. It is a one-hit KO. Starmie's out next. Psychic didn't quite do half. But if we can just get a critical hit, I'm pretty sure we would easily win. I just used Swift at the end, and there we go. We managed to beat Misty, 8 minutes, 10 seconds. We've completed everything up north. We're ready to go take on Lieutenant Surge. This is going to be perfectly fine. One optional battle up to this point. No troubles whatsoever. So with that, we are just going to move on in the game, and Misty gives us Bubble Beam. We could use that move. I'm not sure if we actually need it though, so I'm gonna avoid it for now. But actually, no sooner did I say that than I kind of realized that I'm running low on some PP, so I'm actually gonna learn this move over Disable that will just give us another damaging move. And basically, the whole goal in a speedrun is just to avoid any inefficiency as much as possible, so obviously we want to avoid having to backtrack to heal at Pokemon centers, things like that. So having an extra move like Bubble Beam does make sense here. And now on the SS end, I'm going to take one more optional battle in order to get access to Body Slam. I think this is the best move just because it's going to give us a stronger normal type move to use. And basically we could carry this move all the way to the end of the game. I'm going to learn it over Swift. So with that, let's just get straight to rival number 3, where I think he's going to be a cakewalk, but let's find out. So here against Spearow, I'm just going to use Bubble Beam. Same against the Rattata. It's the obvious play against the Sandshrew as well. We get to level 22 and then just Body Slam the Eevee. Easy victory. So just like that, we can give a rubby rub to an old man at the end of this whole SSN section and get him to teach us how to cut. And now we are ready to get into Lieutenant Surge's gym. I do not auto-solve his trash can puzzle. We are going to solve it the old-fashioned way, which means that this is definitely a time loss. If you were speedrunning, you would either manipulate this or somehow just, reset every time you miss. But here we are, Lieutenant Surge, let's go. So Lieutenant Surge, I think the best strategy is just to body slam him. Oh, it didn't quite one-shot, but we two-shot. Easy victory. 11 minutes, 25 seconds to get through 3 gyms. 2 optional battles, 2 TMs. We're doing just fine. And remember, we're already well over a third of the battles through the game on a minimum battle setup. I'm going to go ahead and learn the move Thunderbolt. This is going to be on our final move set, of course. In the late game, we're going to forget Confusion in order to have Thunderbolt here. And here we will get the Bicycle, we'll get our Squirtle, and it's time to make our way to the Rock Tunnel. So next up is the Wrapping Lass, of course, where we can simply sit here and spam anything, but I think Psychic is probably the best way to go, since it's just super effective and it's guaranteed to one-shot everything. And now we can get to the Cubone Slowpoke Trainer, where we're also going to get some pretty easy one-shots, I think. I didn't even use Thunderbolt like I should have, but it was still a one-shot with Body Slam on the Slowpoke. We'll rectify that here on the second Slowpoke, where we'll simply just Thunderbolt it down. Easy, easy win. And we can see we just kind of cruise through this entire section, but you're always going to be over-leveled in Rock Tunnel. Even with a slow level of Pokemon on minimum battles, you will be at a higher level than these opponents. I am going to save for routing here because I don't want to accidentally run into any trainers, and you'll see me save periodically based on just situations where I might get bad luck. But here we've made it to the Rock Tunnel Hiker, where Bubble Beam, assuming that we don't get any Gen 1 misses, should just be a bunch of one-hitters, and just like that we get through and get to level 25. And just like that, we've made it through this entire section incredibly easily, as we would kind of expect, and we can make our way to Celadon City. Now I do cut these trees here. I know it's not the most efficient, it's just easier routing on 4 times speed to not run into some random trainers. And now in Celadon City, I'm going to first go straight to Erika. I think this is a reasonable strategy because I think we're just going to completely destroy her gym. So Erika, attempt number 1, let's go. So first off, she sends out Tangela. I'm going to use Psychic. We do not get the one-hitter, but Body Slam will finish it off after that. Weepin' Bell's out next. It's an easy one-hit KO. And Gloom, more of the same action. So we get to level 27, 15 minutes, 37 seconds, 4 gyms down, and we are cruising yet again. We're just going to basically pick up Ice Beam here in Celadon City, get Fly, and then just progress in the game. I will not be using the Pokédoll glitch, so we will actually fight Giovanni and Team Rocket. That will lose a little bit of time, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. Now, the other thing I will not be doing is getting any vitamins in this one, because honestly, I don't think we even need them, but you know, you can disagree with me on that. Now, I am also going to get PP ups in this one. I don't know if they're actually necessary at any point, but just having the extra PP in an attacking move might save us from having to go back and heal quite as often. And with all that done, it's time to get into the basement and fight Jesse and James, where here we're just simply going to Psychic on the Coughing, and I think we just spam Psychic this entire fight. I don't think we need to mess around with anything else. Easy one-hitters all the way around. So just like that, it's time for Giovanni number 1. He leads off with Onix. We're going to Ice Beam it. That's a one-hitter. Ice Beam, of course, will one-shot the Rhyhorn, and I'm going to go Psychic on the Persian since it is our strongest move as the same type move. Easy win there as well, and we can just dig on out of here and make our way back to Lavender. You'll see that we didn't even heal since Cerulean City. So now it's time to fight against our rival. Let's see how he goes. So leading off against Fearow, I'm going to Thunderbolt this Pokemon. Out next comes the Magnemite. I think Body Slam's as good as anything there. Shelter can get a Thunderbolt itself. And then we will go for the Ice Beam on Sandshrew, and Psychic guarantees the one-hitter on the Eevee. Easy, easy victory. So now we will simply route minimum battles through this section. There's only this one Chandler to fight on the lower levels before we get a free heal from the Purified Protected Zone. So we don't even need to worry about the fact that we're running a little low on PP in some of our moves, because it's coming right back to us here. And with the one free heal in the mid game, we can now come here and just easily destroy these Ghastlies. Let's take on Ghosty Mama. We identify Cubone's mother, and we are just going to Ice Beam it. And apparently that's enough to take out a ghost. Jesse and James are waiting at the top of the tower, where we know that we're going to completely destroy them. Auto A on Psychic the whole way, I think, is going to be one-hitters all the way around. Easy, easy victory. That kind of does it for all the guaranteed easy parts of the game. Remember that everything up to this point is just kind of a cakewalk in a standard solo run. Pokemon Yellow really isn't that hard up to this point. It's here when we get to Rival 5 and to Koga that the game starts to get more difficult, but I think we have enough type coverage that we can even just go straight to Rival 5. So I'm going to try that routing. Let's just see if it works out. In a normal run, I would definitely go down to Koga, but I think maybe fighting the psychic types would be more tedious at this point than simply coming here and getting the victory. So Rival 5 is going to lead off with his Sand Slash, and let's see if Ice Beam one-shots. It does. Out next is Cloyster, Thunderbolt. Easy victory right there. We don't really have anything great against Magneton, so I'm just going to use Psychic. We did not one-shot, so I'll just finish it with a Body Slam. Body Slam on Kadabra, of course. And what the heck, let's just Body Slam the Flareon. Easy victory. We get through as we get to level 33. There was never a question in that fight. So we can take our last battle against Jesse and James here, where I'm just going to Psychic the Weezing. Out next is Arbok, another easy Psychic, I think. And then Meowth, what the heck, Body Slam, anything just one-shots that Pokemon at this point. And it's time for Giovanni number 2. So here against Giovanni, I'm going to go Psychic on the Nidorino. I'm going to, get a Gen 1 miss with Thunderbolt against the Persian. I'm just using this because it doesn't work on the next two Pokemon. Rhyhorn, we can give it an Ice Beam. And of course, against the Nidoqueen, Ice Beam, one-hit KO, no problem whatsoever, as we completely destroyed Giovanni. I'm going to take a slight inefficiency by going upstairs to get the rare candy, but yeah, we're not actually having any troubles at this point. And with some slight item management out of the way, we are now going to go and take on Sabrina, where I think Body Slam is just going to completely destroy her, but let's find out. So in a normal run, I would just let this Abra flash me because who doesn't want to get flashed by Sabrina? But in this one, we're just going to go all in on the Body Slams. We one-shot the first two Pokemon. Not quite a one-hitter on Alakazam at this level, but we still take it down easily. 24 minutes, 19 seconds to get through that. And we have another gym badge. So now it's time to just go take on Koga. This shouldn't be too hard, I don't think. We've obviously got Psychic, and that's probably the play. So here in Koga's gym, of course, we have to fight two jugglers, and I'm just going to spam Body Slam on these fights. I'm pretty sure it's one-hitters all the way around, but let's see if that's actually the case. The first juggler, of course, goes down super easily. This second juggler does have a Hypno on his team, though, so we might not one-shot it, but we do. So there we go. We have made it to Koga. Let's just use Psychic here. So against Koga, of course, I'm just going to hold Auto A on Psychic. We one-shot the first Venonat, one-shot the second Venonat, get to level 37 as we one-shot the third Venonat. Venomoth is out, and it's a one-hit KO. Easy victory in 26 minutes and 19 seconds to beat 6 gyms. So we're definitely on a very good pace here. We've learned 4 TMs, we've got 2 optional battles, but really nothing crazy. And it's time to go take on Blaine now. We don't have that many battles left. We have Blaine, we have like 2 randos inside of Giovanni's gym and Giovanni, and then it's just the final 6 battles of the game. If we can do this on minimum battles, this is going to be pretty darn awesome. Now in a usual run, it's actually at Lorelei where minimum battles becomes a little bit inconsistent with Mewtwo, and that's the point where you actually have to use some rare candies in order to make it more consistent to get through that fight, even with Thunderbolt on the moveset. Here, however, I'm pretty sure we're going to crush there because we've got a super effective move and basically perfect stats, but level does calculate into the damage formula. So just because we do have really, really great stats here, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be consistent without additional levels. So I will grab Blizzard just in case maybe we could need it at some point. I think Ice Beam will be enough to get through everything though. Blizzard just in theory gives us a slightly stronger move if we need a better range, but since this is a first attempt and it's not optimized, I don't actually know if we ever need that range. That may be something for the speedrunners out there watching to test out yourselves sometime. So here we will wish that we had Tombstoner because that would guarantee one-hitters, but now it's time for Blaine. Let's go. So here against Blaney Boy, I'm going to lead off with Psychic. It's not going to be a one-hitter, but Body Slam will finish that Pokemon off. If it's not going to be one-hitters, I'm basically just going to go Body Slam here because we could get a paralysis, and that probably helps quite a bit. Here, Arcanine is fully paralyzed, and we knock it out in 3 hits. Easily, 29 minutes, 46 seconds to get through that fight. No additional optional battles in that section. The biggest thing that I think surprises me is that we're not actually one-shotting everything. We could have, I guess, kept Bubble Beam up to this point in order to one-shot and then learned a different move. So if I were to come back and optimize, that might even be what I would try. But technically a super effective Bubble Beam and Psychic are about the same power, so it's not a situation where you're like dying to have that move. But with that, we have gotten through 7 gyms now, and it's time to go take on Giovanni and then make our way to the league. So here we're going to show Giovanni a Mewtwo as strong as the Mewtwo in the anime. We one-shot the first Pokemon, Psychic here on Persian, one-shots. Next, I'm just going to stick with Psychic on Nidoqueen since it is the strongest move. We get to level 40, another one-hitter on Nidoking, and finally Rhydon, take an Ice Beam, easy victory. Giovanni never stood a chance. 31 minutes, 7 seconds to get through that section, and yet again, we're just cruising. Let's go take on our rival and make our way to the Elite Four. And I don't predict any more moveset changes at this point. I think we're going to be just fine. Let's see though if that's actually the case. So against the rival, Ice Beam is enough for Sand Slash. We're going to Ice Beam on the Execute. Cloyster comes out. Let's give it a Thunderbolt. Magneton's next. Psychic is our strongest move. It does get the one-hit KO. Kadabra can get Body Slammed. And finally, the Flareon. I'm just going to Body Slam it. It's going to be a 2-hit KO. We get poisoned. That does not matter at all. We are easily getting through that fight. And I'm not going to stop to heal the poison just because I don't want to lose the time. I will get access to the one rare candy in Victory Road, and I'll avoid talking too much here because I don't want to flash your guys' eyes out. I am not Sabrina. And here I did accidentally run into one trainer, so I guess I'm just gonna have to fight this guy. And now I'm even misclicking here against this juggler. We did not one-shot his Hypno. The Drowsy is technically a one-hitter with Body Slam. We one-shot the Kadabra, and we're gonna one-shot the other Kadabra. So clearly it shouldn't have been a tough fight. A little bit of time lost there, few seconds, nothing to really write home about. But now we've made it to the Elite Four. We can heal, we can grab a few full restores, and now it is time to get into this action. Starting off with Lorelei, let's see how she goes. So Lorelei attempt number 1, of course, I'm simply going to Thunderbolt on the Dugong. It's a nice one-hitter. Thunderbolt on the Cloyster, another one-hit KO. Thunderbolt on the Slowbro is a one-hitter. I'm going to Body Slam this Jinx. That is a one-hit KO. And finally, the Lapras is not a one-hitter, and it paralyzes us with Body Slam, but 2 hits is enough to knock it out, and we can move on. And after a quick heal, it's Bruno time. Let's just knock out this hiker. So here against Bruno, of course, I'm just going to go Auto A on Psychic. We don't even need to mess around with Ice Beam on the Onix. They don't matter. Everything on this team always goes down to Psychic on minimum battles for a Mewtwo. I've never had a Pokemon here survive, and it doesn't change this time. So with that, we have made it through that fight. It is time to take on Agatha. Let's see how she goes here. Now Agatha's might be a little scary because I haven't rare candied here, but we have such high stats I don't think it matters, and we are just simply using Psychic to one-shot her entire team. Fortunately, we have enough Psychic PP without recovering that we can one-shot all of Bruno's team and all of this team, so Agatha goes down just like that as we get to level 47. And with that, Lance is just going to lock us in, and it's time to go ahead and fight the Dragon Trainer. So here against Lance, of course, I'm going to Thunderbolt on the Gyarados, easy one-hit KO. Then it's just Ice Beam the rest of the way. All of these Pokemon I expect to be one-hit KOs, and we outspeed everything at this point. So we get to level 48, Dragonite goes down, and Lance was never a problem. So with that, I'm simply going to use a single Elixir and get into the champion fight. Let's see if we sweep the entire Elite Four here. So against the champion, of course, I'm going to Ice Beam on the Sandslash. Next, it's time to Body Slam this Alakazam. We're going to go back to Ice Beam for the Exeggutor. Exeggutor survives, so this is a 2-hit KO. Blizzard would have helped there. Then Psychic is the best play on the Magneton. We get the one-hitter. Cloyster can get Thunderbolted. And finally, we've got a Flareon. Let's just go for the Psychic and get the one-hit KO. So just like that, we are going to see completely unoptimized with animations on, with the proper name on our Pokemon, with some routing mistakes in there. 37 minutes, 33 seconds at 4 times speed. Really not a difficult run to do with this Pokemon. We pretty easily crushed the entire game, as you would expect. Now, I'm pretty darn certain that with optimizations, this Pokemon could get significantly faster than this, but it does lead to one question in my mind, which is how much faster would we be if we did the standard speedrunner strats of, you know, a one character name and animations off and all of that? How much faster would we actually be than this 37-minute time? Well, let's do a double header here and just see how much faster it actually becomes. But now let's play this more like a speed run. Let's turn our animations off. And I'm also going to use my overlay to set all of the names to simply be a single A. Let's see what that does to the speed of this run. How much faster is it actually to play the game like a quote-unquote speedrunner? Are we saving a lot of time, or is it basically negligible? So of course I know with a TAS or something that this would be a significantly faster run, but the reason I'm kind of interested is just because of the fact that as a human being who runs into walls occasionally and things like that, this might not actually make any difference. Here, of course, we did learn that we should Psychic on rival number 1 to guarantee that that is a one-hit KO, and we are also going to use Psychic as we go into the Brock fight, kind of hoping that we get the range this time in order to one-shot his Onix. That might have been a bad luck range on the first attempt, and so that could save us a little bit of time. Now, while this second attempt is obviously going to be a little bit better, I learned a few things in that first attempt. I don't expect it to be like worlds better in terms of strategy. I mean, we were basically one-shotting everything anyway, so I think most of that can just be chalked up to luck, and even if we had a better strategy, it's probably not going to improve things that much. But with that, let's simply try Brock again without animations. So here against Brock, of course, I'm just going to use Psychic and one-shot Geodude, and this time we again do not get the one-hitter on the Onix, so clearly we need to gain another level in order to one-shot Onix. 2 minutes 30 seconds to get through there, and we are moving on in the game. Now I'm going to follow exactly the same route as I did on the first attempt because I think this is the best way to get through quickly and efficiently, and I don't think there's really any reason to change it based on what we saw. Now I am going to still pick up the rare candies because I might even slam them at certain points where I didn't one-shot opponents and maybe try to use the rare candies to get a better range. Here though, the strategy is definitely just to come into this as we are and pretty easily get through these fights, I think. This time we actually use Psychic on the Voltorb, so it is a one-hit KO, and we easily get through the Super Nerd, grab Lord Dome, and it's time for Jesse and James. So here, of course, same strategy as before, Psychic on the Ekans, Psychic on the Persian, and then just Confusion on the Coughing is enough to one-shot that Pokemon. So now it's time for rival number 2, where we can just spam the move Psychic this whole way. I'm just using Confusion on the Rattata to save some PP, and like that, it's time to go north and just beat up on all these trainers, get the free levels, and then we'll make our way to Misty. So here we'll show Billy Boy our new Mewtwo, and he's going to be even more impressed because he's going to say, RBY, are you starting to try to speedrun? What is this? He definitely approves of naming everything A. That is definitely the case when it comes to Billy Boy. So down to Misty, let's see how she goes. So Misty attempt number 1 here. Of course, Psychic one-shots the Staryu. And here we get a nice critical hit turn 1 on Starmie, so it's a 2-hitter. 7 minutes 36 seconds. So now against rival number 3, of course, I'm just going to sit here and spam Psychic on this. I think this is the easiest way to simply get through this fight. But Lieutenant Surge is up next, and I'm going to try Psychic here. I went for Body Slam last time. Obviously, Psychic is a stronger move since it's same type. I was just trying to save PP. Here, I actually did take a heal before I came down to Vermilion City, though. So now Lieutenant Surge time. Let's see how he goes. So here against Lieutenant Surge, I'm going to go Psychic. We still don't get the 1-hitter. It's a 2-hit KO. A critical hit would have one-shot there, but 10 minutes 59 seconds to get through the 3rd gym. So I just have the feeling that this is slower, but I don't remember what my splits were from the first one, so I'm just going to have to compare them all at the end. But just like that, we do make it to the Rock Tunnel Hiker, where we can simply spam Bubble Beam, and as long as we don't get any more Gen 1 misses here, easy victory to get through that section. So with that, let's go straight to Cerulean. Let's get Ice Beam before we go to Erika this time. That was definitely a strategy mistake in the first one, but now we can simply one-shot all these Pokemon, and I think Ice Beam will also one-shot the Tangela in Erika's gym. So here now against Erika, against her Tangela, I'm going to use Ice Beam and get the 1-hit KO, and then Psychic is still more than good enough for the Weepin' Bell and the Gloom. So we easily get through that. 16 minutes 15 seconds to get through that gym, 4 gym badges down, and it's time to progress in the game. So same routing as before, we are coming into the Rocket Game Corner now, where we should just make very quick work of all of these Pokemon and be able to progress to the next section. So just like last time, Jesse and James are going to be a bunch of easy 1-hit KOs, and we can make our way straight to Giovanni number 1. So here I'm just going to Ice Beam on the Onix, let's Ice Beam on the Rhyhorn, and then let's just go ahead and use a Psychic on the Persian, easy 1-hits all the way around, and it's time to go take on rival number 4 in the Pokemon Tower. The rival, of course, leads off with his Fearow, which we just Thunderbolt. Then against the Magnemite, I'm just going to use Psychic, Shelter, another Thunderbolt. The Sandshrew really can't do anything to an Ice Beam, and then Psychic to guarantee the 1-hitter on Eevee. And just like that, we have basically made it through all of this early game yet again. We know nothing in the tower is going to pose us any real difficulties, so let's make our way straight to rival number 5. So in Rival 5's room, of course, we are basically planning to one-shot most of these Pokemon. Ice Beam on the Sandslash, of course, Thunderbolt for Cloyster. We go back to Psychic for the Magneton. Still have a 2-hit range here, but we knock it out. Kadabra is a 1-hit KO. And finally against the Flareon, didn't mean to use Ice Beam there, but we easily get it with 2 hits. So just like that, we managed to get through that fight. So now time for Giovanni 2 yet again, where we can basically just one-shot the Nidorino. I'm going to just one-shot the Persian, and we're just going Ice Beam the rest of the way since all of these Pokemon can't really do anything against it. And just like that, we get through yet again. And I'm not going to waste my time going upstairs to get a rare candy because I don't think we actually need it. So Sabrina time, let's go. So here against Sabrina, of course, I'm just going to lead off with a Body Slam. More Body Slam. Everybody wants to slam their body on Sabrina. Oh, that's terrible. But we easily win, and 22 minutes 24 seconds to get through that gym, and it's time now to move on in this section. So now Koga time, we should have just a bunch of easy 1-hit KOs with Psychic here, and sure enough, everything goes down nice and easy in 24 minutes 1 second to get through that gym. And now here, this is where I'm actually going to use rare candies because I think that the Blaine fight was basically the least consistent fight of the last run. So by gaining 6 levels here, I think we're going to be significantly stronger, and it should at least in theory help us get through that one a little faster. I don't know if the levels will actually affect the ranges though, so we're just going to have to find out. And I'm going to once again pick up Blizzard in this one, but I'm not going to learn it immediately. I'm going to save Blizzard basically until we're right at the champion. I think the Exeggutor is the only Pokemon where that move really matters. Everything else, it seems like Ice Beam was more than enough. Ice Beam is of course 100% accurate, so I'd rather not lose time to a random miss. So Tombstoner Brothers, let's take on Blaney Boy. So here I am going to go Psychic the whole way. This is going to be our strongest move, and we get a nice critical hit one-shot on the first Pokemon, and we're going to 2-shot the Rapidash. Arcanine comes out, we did over half, and 2 hits is enough to knock it out in 27 minutes and 17 seconds. But just like that, we're to Giovanni. Let's take him down nice and easy. So here, of course, against the Doug trio, it's an Ice Beam. Then we're going Psychic on the next 3 Pokemon. We are basically guaranteed to get crits on both of the Nidos. I'm not sure about the Persian. Maybe the crit mattered there, but we can get the one-hitter on the Rhydon. In 28 minutes, 26 seconds now, we are through all of the gyms, and it's on to the Elite Four. We've got about 9 minutes to beat our previous time. Let's just see if we can manage to do it. So Rival 6, of course, we've got just a bunch of one-hitters here. I don't expect to have any major issues on this fight. We will go Psychic on the Magneton. It does get the one-hitter, and then Body Slam on the Kadabra, and we'll finish with a Psychic on the Flareon that does not one-shot. So we just use anything after that in order to win. We already used 6 of our rare candies, and we're still not one-hit KOing on that Flareon there. This is kind of the issue of being in the slow level up group. It might actually be possible to win a lot faster with a medium slow level up Pokemon, because medium slow level up Pokemon actually level up the fastest in a solo challenge basically until around level 60 or so. They're faster than the medium fast level up Pokemon, and it takes fast Pokemon basically to the end of the game to actually gain significantly more levels than those medium slow level up Pokemon. There's a reason why challenge runners absolutely love the medium slow level up group in these solo challenges. Now we do manage to dodge that one random juggler that I fought last time, so we aren't going to get a time loss from that. So that should automatically make this run a little bit faster. But now it's time for the Elite Four. Let's see how they go. So starting with Lorelei. So of course the strategy is the same. We're going to go Thunderbolt on the first 3 Pokemon. I expect it to one-shot all of them. Body Slam on the Jinx, and we missed the Body Slam with a Gen 1 miss. Finally, Lapras comes out. We do get the one-hitter with a critical hit this time, so that was perfectly fine. On to Bruno. So here against Bruno, we're just going Auto A on Psychic the entire way, since we know this is going to be a one-hit KO fest. Yet again, we just don't want Gen 1 misses, but everything is perfectly easy there. We get to level 49, it's on to Agatha. So here against Agatha, Auto A on Psychic once again. As long as it hits, these should all be one-hit KOs, and we should get through really, really fast. We get to level 50 there, the level that we actually finished at in the last run, so we know we're slightly stronger here, but let's just see if it's enough. Now on to Lancey Boy. We are going to Thunderbolt against his first Gyarados, and then it's just Ice Beam the rest of the way. Since this move is 100% accurate, this is the one we want to use on this fight, as long as it's a guaranteed one-hitter on everything. But just like that, we have made it once again to the champion at about 33 minutes here. I'm going to learn TM14 Blizzard. I'm going to learn this over Ice Beam, and now I'm also going to slam the last of my rare candies. I had 2 more left in the bag. We're up to level 53. Let's see how this goes and how the ranges are against that Exeggutor. So first things first, against the Sandslash, Blizzard is an easy one-hit KO. Out next is Alakazam. We body slam it, and Exeggutor, the one we wanted to see, we get the one-hit KO there. We're out of Psychic PP, so I'm going to Body Slam here on Magneton. That was a mistake. Here we can go Thunderbolt on the Cloyster, though. And finally, against the Flareon, I guess Blizzard's the strongest move. It's a one-hit KO. Easy victory. So it turns out that we finished the game about 3 minutes faster with the animations off. It didn't really make that big of a difference to have a short name and animations off in this one. Now, with that being said, it was about 3 minutes 21 seconds difference between this and the run that we did with the animations on and with full names. So of course, if you are going for a speed run, you would prefer to run on these sorts of settings. If anything though, I would say there is a slight caveat. We basically one-shot the entire game. We had like a couple spots where we needed 2 hit KOs, but if you're playing any Pokemon normally that would actually have to fight a lot more, this difference between having animations on and animations off, having a long name and having a short name would definitely be longer and longer in those cases. Now, the other thing to note is that I'm basically playing at 4 times speed, so the reason I don't refer to the game time is because if you were actually trying to get the fastest possible time, you would play on 1 time speed to avoid bumping into walls and to get basically frame perfect inputs everywhere that you possibly could. Still, that was a lot of fun to see that, yeah, Mewtwo with this setup, pretty darn strong, beasts the game, but it's still, even with perfect stats, since it doesn't always have a super effective move for everything, it still at the end doesn't one-shot every single Pokemon on minimum battles. Obviously, if you had slightly more battles, slightly more levels, you'd probably reach a point where you one-shot everything by level 60 at the most. The whole game probably becomes a one-hit KO fest. But now let's do one last thing. Let's go ahead and see how this Mewtwo does against Professor Oak, the legend himself. He has 3 Oaks right here, 3 teams. Let's see if we can defeat them all in succession without any heals. Let's go. So first Oak comes out with his Tauros. I'm going to use Psychic on this Pokemon. It is not a one-hitter, so we have to knock it out the next turn. Exeggutor, we're going to go Blizzard. We get a nice one-hit KO there, fortunately. Back to Psychic on the Arcanine. And this is another Pokemon that we're going to have to go 2 hits to knock out. Blastoise is out next. We can just Thunderbolt that Pokemon, and we're going to Thunderbolt the Gyarados. Easy victory. Next, we have to fight the Oak that has the Venusaur team. So we're going to go for the same strategy, but this time we one-shot against the very first Tauros. We get to knock out the Exeggutor. We level up to level 56 right here. We're going to go back to Psychic for the Arcanine. Still not going to be a one-hitter, but he keeps roaring at us for some reason. Now we can go Psychic on the Venusaur, and the final Gyarados gets a one-hit KO from a Thunderbolt. So that's 2 Oaks down. Final Oak, here he is. He's got his Tauros. Psychic. At this level, we now do one-shot there. Blizzard still hits against the Exeggutor, but we did not get the one-hitter there. So we have to knock it out on the next turn. Back to Psychic for the Arcanine. It roars a 3rd time, so he really just doesn't want to win. We Thunderbolt the Charizard, get to level 58, Thunderbolt the Gyarados, and just like that, 3 Oaks in a row. You know, it's literally like 3 ducks in a row here. We just completely destroyed them. And there's a reason why he's looking around, refusing to look at us now. He's like, hey, I refuse to look at you, what you've done to this world of Pokemon. So with that, I'm going to do my last thing that I want to do. Of course, the Mewtwo that is in the game is also a God tier Mewtwo. It has the perfect stats. So let's go for some Mewtwo on Mewtwo violence to wrap this one up. Well, I'm just going to give a massive thank you to the channel members. Thank you so much for supporting. This has been just a fun little adventure to mess around with base stats and see the maximums and minimums of the game. But I'd be really interested to hear which Pokemon you guys think would be better than this Mewtwo with perfect stats. I can think of a few. I think a Pokemon like Victory Bell could actually turn out to be really, really good, given that it would have Razor Leaf from the start of the game plus Acid. It just doesn't have anything really good to use against early game poison types, but it might not matter with the critical hits from Razor Leaf. Another Pokemon that would make a lot of sense would be something like Hypno, which, while it's going to be a little bit weaker with the confusion, it also has Headbutt. Some other Pokemon that I think could be really, really interesting, Poliwrath starting out the entire game with the move Body Slam could be pretty cool, and it's got Water Gun in order to easily get through Brock. That Pokemon with perfect stats might actually be super overpowered. And keep in mind, it learns tons and tons of TMs. But I don't know. Tell me your opinions down below. What moveset you think that Pokemon should use? And who knows, maybe we'll try another one. For now, it's time for the Mewtwo on Mewtwo violence. We're coming in at level 58 with 375 in attack and defense and 374 in speed and special. But this is a God tier Pokemon in front of us. Let's see how the stats stack up. And yeah, he's not actually that much stronger than us because we have badge boosts and he doesn't. Plus, we have stat experience. So I think there's a natural strategy here. I'm going to Blizzard on this Pokemon, and we can see it did that much. Oh, we did so little, and he knows Recover. Oh, this is terrible. So here, now I paralyze him with the Body Slam. I'm also going to go Psychic here, trying to get some special drops, because if we can get special drops on this Pokemon, we might just be able to whittle it down. Of course, critical hits will ignore our special drops, and that could be a massive issue here. And so just like that, the Wild Mewtwo beats us on the first attempt. So I think there's nothing else to do but just spam Blizzard, because we could theoretically get a freeze here. The freeze, of course, guarantees the victory, and we get him on much lower health this time. So now I'm going to Body Slam, hoping for the crits that will ignore all the barriers, and just like that, we take Mewtwo down on the second attempt. So it took a little bit of resetting there, but a level 58 Mewtwo does in fact beat a level 70 Mewtwo when you give it access to Blizzard. That is the answer. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun. Next up, I'm planning on a few type change runs that I think you guys are going to really enjoy, as well as a Hitmonlee run where we're going to see how it does if it got its Gen 2 special stat. Since Hitmonlee basically just doesn't use special moves, its special defense from Gen 2, if it were ported into Gen 1, might make a really big impact. Kind of interested to see how that goes. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one. Later.